do it. Lively and happy.
Welcome to Happily Ever After. This is
The
Raj family. So, we've been talking about different topics like the boundaries and how to have a balance in marriage, how our childhood was, and we've touched a few different topics. Today, what is it going to be?
Yoo-hoo! One of my favorite topics. Finances.
Yes, it's a very hot topic.
Hot topic, good topic.
Yes, yes.
So, honey, I'll start by asking you, how was it
Yes.
for you growing up? Finances in general, your education on it, your perspective on it. When you thought about finances,
Well,
yeah.
growing up, I was raised in a lower middle class family, and my father left us even before I was born, so we didn't really have a financial support. My mom was sick, so she was not able to work as she wanted to, and there were so many issues going on. So we really didn't have money, but I would definitely say it helped me to have more faith in God because my brother, my mom, and we three saw God's miracles through that. Most of my childhood, I grew up without having money. In fact, when my mom would work, she would make like thousands and thousands of rupees,
Yeah,
which is
Indian money.
Indian money, yes. And I would say we were rich. And we would go to 5-star restaurants, we would go different places, all those rich people stuff. And then once she got sick, and then my father, of course, my father was not there in the picture in the first place. So because of none of those things, we became poor. And so
That's
I would
tough,
say
huh? Going
it
from
was.
having more to less.
Yeah, I remember when my mom would bring some money. With my little hands, I would also count along with them, with my brother and my mom. I would try to count the money. I don't know much of the numbers anyway. After 10, I don't think I knew, but I would do that because that is how much money she would make. She was an attorney, so it was easy for her to make money. But then, because of different circumstances, she was not able to go to work, and finally we became poor. So I can definitely say I've seen the richest side and poorest side. There were times where we didn't have money at all, so the mindset was to borrow money. And we would borrow money from someone, and then somehow God will provide us money. Either she would have some type of civil case that she doesn't have to go to court or other things, and then so that's how things were. But I grew up throughout my childhood, even after growing up, when I started working, we would have debts because we are used to borrowing money and then paying it off, then again borrowing money and then paying it off. But later on, I developed the mindset as not having to live in debts because all my life, that is how it has been, running behind money to pay people instead of me being able to spend freely. So that is something that I would say I learned, or two things that I learned. One is, if we are genuinely put into a situation where we are not able to make money, God will do miracles.
Amen.
But if I'm, of course, going to do it lazy because I don't want to work, God is not going to necessarily support my laziness. But the other thing that I learned is not having to have debt in that type because I'm used to seeing constantly running behind money. And that is not even for our own expense, it is to pay someone else off. So.
Wow, those are important lessons and quite a variety of in the spectrum of finances, and but it's beautiful what you mentioned, to trust God, because at the end of the day, money is here today and tomorrow can be gone
Mm-hmm.
in different ways. Even if you have a great degree and make a lot of money, what if, like your mom, then you have a disability or something that you cannot do it in the same capacity or something hindering you from doing it?
Yeah.
So, wow.
How about you, love?
So, for me, grew up, I would say we never had a lot of money, but we always had enough to live and not have to beg for money or be homeless or something like that. So, my dad was not the best with finances, but my mom was raised. Even if she only had like $5 for a month, she knew how to save until the end of the month and still have money. That was her growing up. And so when she got married, she really brought more of the stewardship, finance, managing. And so my parents developed certain habits and way of doing things. So they would always say, you use credit cards not as credit, but as a card instead of using cash. You need to know how much you have in the bank, and you always pay your card in full, never in payments like that, just because it adds up and then the interest is even more. So always pay your card in full. So that was one thing that I learned. And then my mom would always encourage us as well, like, save money so then you can buy something bigger later on. Don't just get money. So since little, I had my little savings like box or house that any birthday money, any gift money would go to that box. And after a few years, I had hundreds of, dollars or whatever the currency was, depending where we were. And then I could buy something bigger. And one of the biggest things I bought in my, I was going to say teens, but I was 12. So I guess I was not a teen yet, was a piano. And that was like $600. And so that was huge for me because it was a lot of effort for many years that I had accumulated. And I could buy something big, useful for myself. And so another principle that was growing up, I learned was to, give to God, return to God, give the tithe. And I remember having a certain amount of money. I think at that time I was like 10 and I had around, I believe it was like $100 saved. And so I saw something about missions, and not only I wanted to give tithe, but I felt impressed to give most of it. And I was like, God says, try me and I will open the windows of heaven and shower on you my blessings. But I was like, it's a little risky when you've been earning, you have your savings, and then to give it to God, it's like it's going somewhere for good, but then I'm not going to have my money. But I remember I gave it. I was like, Lord, I'm going to try you to see how this works. And in couple months, I had more than double the amount. So I was like, it works. It really works. If you give to God, He never depletes your bank, but gives you even more interest per se. When you invest in Him, He truly provides. So, and then I heard many stories growing up of people that would not be faithful in tithe because they felt we are poor, we don't have enough money, so we cannot give tithes right now. But then nothing would go well in their business, in their finances. They would get more and more in debt. And then when they started returning to God, they would actually go back to a better financial life. So looking at that, trying it for myself, I was like, that's something I always have to be faithful in, supporting others and supporting God's work, so that the gospel can be spread to the world. So returning to God, the tithe. And so yeah, those were some principles. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a testimony as well along those lines. Not necessarily tithe, but how God is faithful. I don't know how old I was, but I was in my teens. Every month or somehow I would save up money. And at one point I saved 100 rupees. And that was huge for me. 100 rupees, you can do a whole lot of stuff at that time. And my mom said, Martin, we need this 100 rupees for something. Would you be willing to give it? And for me, I thought for a few minutes and I was like, what am I going to do with this 100 rupees anyway? Might as well give it to my mom so she can use it for something. And in less than a week, I got 200 rupees as a gift.
Wow.
As a gift. Like, I didn't have to spend any months for it. Just like less than a week, someone gave me
Wow.
200 rupees. And that showed, again, how faithful God is. We just give Him some amount or for His cause for some amount. And God will bless you more than abundantly.
Even when we're willing to help someone in need, like in your case, God blesses.
Exactly.
That's powerful. That's beautiful. And I think the last lesson I learned growing up that really shaped my mindset in finances was do not get in debts. Live within your budget. If you get, $200 a month, live within that. Don't go beyond it and start putting it in credit cards and then get into debt, because you might think, if this whole year I'm gaining that, I can pay it off slowly, 30 a month, and in a couple years I'll pay it off. But then something else will come, and then something else, and maybe you even lose your job, or your job doesn't go as you expected, and then you are bound by that, by the system that now is you're a slave, you're not free. And so we never had much with my family. We would always go to thrift stores, and I think till today is one of my favorite stores because you can find quality brand clothes that sometimes are like new for, a tenth of the price.
That's true.
And it's just fun to get deals. Even, I like to wait for expensive stores, furniture, clothes, whatever it is, and wait for the deals that come, in Christmas time or Memorial Day or Labor Day or whatever holidays that they're giving discounts. Wait for those. You can save hundreds of dollars in that. Anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, when I first started working in the US, for me, this credit score, credit cards, this and that, they were all like a new world for me. In India, we didn't have any of those things. We didn't have credit score, or you work. If you need loan, they will ask for your 3 months or your 6 months bank statement showing that you've been working. And they will also ask for pay stubs for 3 months or 6 months. And then they will give you loan according to that. Or if they see that whatever you're making is not sufficient enough, then they will ask for someone else that could be a collateral support for you. And when I started working, this credit score thing was huge. And in my mind, I should have good credit score so that I can build, I can buy a house, I can do this, I can do that, a whole lot of things that I would think. And then I got like a couple credit cards. And then they said I actually needed to have like 9 credit cards to actually build my credit score.
Wow.
And this is so confusing for me because the moment I got credit cards, they will reduce your points. And then you have to build that slowly. And again, if you want more credit cards, they will again reduce your score. And then you build the credit score. I don't know, whoever understands it, I don't understand it, and I don't really care about that anymore because I almost fell into that trap of having a lot of credit cards and trying to spend on those credit cards and paying off. I was paying off regularly, but then it caught up on me. Like at one point, I was not sure if I'm able to pay all those money within the set time. Thankfully, I have never had any due. I have paid off all the credit cards, but sometimes these things creep in and you don't have no clue.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it is built in such a way that you will fall into the trap if you really want to build your credit score.
Yeah.
Instead, my understanding or recognition was to be more cautious, as how you were saying, not necessarily have 100 credit cards. I just have like two right now, and that is all. I most of the times it is like $20-$30, and that is it. I don't care to get any more credit through those credit cards, and because the next month I can definitely pay $100 for sure. So that is a
So,
lesson that I
I
learned.
mean, I'm not fully aware into the whole system of the credit score. I just know I have a really good credit score. And I never use credit cards as credit. I use them as my cash. I would pay them at the end of the month in full. All my life, for more than a decade, that's what I've been doing. And I have a really good credit score, and I've been offered loans and everything with no issue through it. And I've always had three main cards, maybe one from Amazon, one for my bank, and one for something else. And sometimes I do open other cards for certain stores that they offer a big discount, and then I close it just to get the offer, and then I get rid of it, just not to confuse myself with so many cards. I think the biggest thing in all of this, be it that you have 10 cards or 2 cards or no cards, is whatever you have, you need to know exactly your budget
That's right.
and not go beyond it. The other thing is that, yes, it might impact you in some way if you use credit cards as credit, because that's a way that they also make more money and they probably try to encourage that. But you can build your credit scored without having to use it as credit. You can just use it as cash per se, not debit cards, but credit cards. You just know what you have in your bank and what you will use them for, and then know you can pay it in full. So I think it's being more aware of like, what's my budget? Then what are my, bills, expenses? Put that aside. And something else I would do is when I would have a certain amount, I would always say, okay, what's what I really need for my expenses? Okay, if it's this amount of money, I'll set it off. That's my expenses. And everything else, I save. And I save. And then I would take from the bank and even save cash to just have some always available, and like I would forget I had that. So I would always recommend, if you want to save, put money aside and you don't count it as money you have. And that's how you grow savings. Since little, that's how I grew savings. Even for 3 years working in a place, kind of volunteering in Europe, I would get my food and my lodging was part of the deal, but then was only 300 euros, which is maybe like $380 per month. So that's not very much if you have to pay, other personal expenses, traveling here and there, whatever else you want to do. But I was able to save a couple $1,000s through that and then continue my education with that in those 3 years. So no matter if you are making little money or a lot of money, if you cut on your expenses and you live within your budget, you can always save, even if it's just $10 per month is doable many times, especially when you're single. So start saving when you're single.
And it becomes a practice, right?
Yes.
When you're single, you start saving and saving and saving. And then when you're married, it becomes a practice as well. Unless your spouse has a different view about it.
Right. Thankfully, we've agreed in that.
Yes.
We've agreed that we do want to save, that we do not want to get in debt, that we do want to be faithful in supporting God's cause and returning to God what belongs to Him, because we want to be faithful to Him. So we agree in those things. And so what are some things that have helped us in general in this? What do you feel has been good habits that we've made to live a simple life with a small budget per se?
I think out of personal experience, the first one I would say is don't go to restaurants so frequently. Eat at home, because I think even the quality is better when you have homemade food compared to restaurants. Restaurants, is something that you would do it like on a special occasion, once a month or something like that. So you're not spending money unnecessarily on something because you want to travel, you want to order and eat and this and that, and then there is going to be another celebration that someone would bring in, and then another celebration. There
Yeah.
would be so many things that people want to celebrate about. We can try to avoid in our personal time, because we cannot compromise on celebrating other people's birthday or farewell or whichever celebration it is. But if we do it there, then we can always, with our personal outing or date, we can prepare it in our own home and save the money there.
That's a good one. Another one I would think about is whenever you are traveling, and for one reason or another, we've traveled a lot in the past year. It's look for ways to save money as much as possible. So maybe instead of eating out so often, go to a grocery store and get, some bread, some vegan cheese and spread, whatever, and eat on a budget. And some stores that are great for that is like Grocery Outlet or Aldi, or stores that you can find organic, healthy stuff that is also on a budget. So think budget when you want to, live within your budget.
I remember last year when we went to our friend's wedding, Tim and Ashley, we bought it from Grocery Outlet, right? We
Yeah.
bought some foods from Grocery Outlet, and we were able to feed
Few in the Airbnb.
yeah.
Yeah, share with few people, and it lasted, but it's not that we spent so much
money. Yeah. We spent a little, but we were still
It yielded
able
a
to
lot.
we were still able to feed a lot of people.
Yes. So that was a blessing. Definitely you can bless even more with that.
And it shows that being in a budget intentionally pays off.
Then we might put in the description some links to like websites we like to use for flights. Expedia or Kayak, it's the best many times with budget. Sometimes be flexible in dates. Also, Expedia is good for finding hotels at a cheaper rate when you're traveling. Then Groupon is also a very good one for
I love
even outings, like you want to go to a museum or a park, or even dentist. It might be a better budget. You can find so many things in Groupon that are discounted, sometimes 50-80% discounted. So look for discounts, look for websites that help you, look for coupon codes that you can get and apply. So there's an app you showed me, Honey app, that if you put in your phone and your computer, even it has saved us hundreds of dollars in paying for our business, website stuff. And the last one that is a good one that we use when we go to like stores, Ibotta. So sometimes you can save even $7, that cashback that comes to you and then can be deposited to your bank. So having credit cards that you can earn points with as well can be useful. So there's so many different ways to think, how can we save?
Yes.
Even if we were making good amount of money, living, not expending, then you can save more, you can invest, you can do different things with the money that will bless your life even more and others.
Yep. And it might look with Ibotta and other apps, it might look like we are saving very, very minimum. But over a period of time, it will pile up.
If you use it consistently for a couple months, like going to Walmart, buying things online or in different stores, you can save like up to $30 in a few months.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
Everything adds up.
Also, another suggestion is to have a savings account that gives you interest, that pays you interest. Right now, I have an account with American Express Savings, and you make it is very minimum. I think it is 4.35% APY, but you still make a little money there. And if you put like, let's say $5,000, you're going to get around $20 every month. Imagine that.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Like end of the year, you're making like $240. That's
Every
huge.
penny counts, and that's also a mentality. Like to know that every penny adds up and you can lose, or every penny adds up and you can save.
Yes. Yes. So, with that being said, we have come to the end of finances.
I think there's more to talk about finances, like how do we deal with bank accounts and everything, but that's going to have to be for another time.
Yes.
So until next time, we'll see you in the next episode from Happily Ever After with the Raj family.